Just gonna say something really quick before I get started. This is like a preface. These days are numbered with me. It's gonna take some doing, but I gotta stop. Just an FYI. Anyway, I'm gonna keep smoking. By the way, this is Living Life in the Light, AP Hill. How you guys doing? It's been a while. I wanted to come on and talk about a couple things because, as a few of you know, my Facebook friends, there's been like a major change in my life in the past few weeks. I'll get to that. But first of all, I want to say, especially to those people that have followed me on YouTube, those people that still follow me on Facebook sometimes. I know it can get kind of out there, but I want to express gratitude to those people and to my friends, those I've met in person, those I've only known through online interaction, but those people that will either check in on me or allow me to check in on them. And I think that there's a distinction there, and I think that makes a good deal of difference in determining the kind of friends that you have. And for everybody that's said, hey, are you okay? How you doing? Hanging in there, or allowed me to say, hey, you doing okay? How's you? That's my thing. How's you or how you's? And, ultimately along the way, people will open up about, whatever it is that's troubling or plaguing them. And, it's not that I know their exact, level or history of trauma or how this particular situation traumatizes them further, but I understand trauma myself. And if you cultivate that empathetic spirit, to be able to put yourself in someone else's position, in someone else's shoes. If you can say, look, I've never experienced this, but I can imagine it. It's hard to apply it to every single situation where there might be something you don't understand. It's my point being that if we if we applied a little more empathy in our daily lives, started celebrating our similarities as opposed to fighting about our differences, then maybe this world would be a better place. But again, to my friends, to the people that check in, to the people that have subscribed, to the people that follow, the people that follow my blog, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Your feedback is invaluable to me. So please don't hold back. If you have something you want to say it. I want to hear it. It creates a dialogue, and in this society, that's what we need, is a dialogue. We need people exchanging ideas, okay? Especially when it comes to issues of mental illness and substance abuse and things like that. These things have been swept under the rug. Even in this day and age, they're still being glossed over and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, okay. My cat is about to have a hissy fit. Hang on. Billy, come on. Come on. Anyway, point being, we thank you to all you guys. Open the dialogue, start talking about these things, because we all deal with them. And if there's anything that I have set out to do by doing these webisodes and vlogs and whatever, is bring attention to and start trumpeting the idea that mental illness this is my therapy animal, Dillinger. That mental illness the stigma about it needs to disappear. Okay? And so anyway, that moves me to point number 2, the big change. The big change was that one day I got fed up sitting here being sedentary and bemoaning my financial situation and making pretty much every single excuse there could be made. It was in service to my chronic depression, but we'll get to that in a minute. Basically, I decided enough was enough. I wanted to change something, and I took steps to do so. And the steps were about a block and a half away from me at this little grocery store that used to be a Piggly Wiggly back in the day here in Memphis, in Midtown, but is now called Cash Saver. And it's a pretty big grocery store, and they got a lot of stuff. Their meat department is out of this world. Like, I just don't understand the amounts of meat that get moved through this store on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, for crying out loud. Okay, anyway. So I went in, and I had done this before. I had filled an application before, and nobody ever called me back. And so I was like, and so I went in, and I filled out the application. I was dressed to the nines. I had just bought a brand new pair of dress shoes. I was looking good, and I filled out the application there in the store. Thank God it was a paper application, because those online applications are bullshit, in my opinion. Anyway, so I filled out the application, and I walked it over, and I was going to hand it to the store manager at the time, who I saw his name tag said Daryl. And I'd seen him in there before. I figured he was a assistant manager. But before I went to him, I had gone to what turned out being the floor manager, and she stopped, and I said, "Look, who's your hiring manager? Because I really want a job." And I got like real with her, and I was like, I haven't worked in 10 years, and I need to do something. So, I don't have a lot of work history. I haven't worked in 10 years. Just give me a chance. And she's like, "Well, there's a hiring manager." So I went over to Daryl, and earlier I had seen him when I first walked in, and I asked him, "Hey, I can get an application at the front desk, right?" And he said, "Yeah, sure. Are you hiring?" He's like, "Well, we might wait until after the holidays." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." Got the application filled out. Sent to Crystal, went to Daryl. This is in the same time frame, and he's sitting there with the schedule. And I walk up to him, and I was like, I start my spiel like I did with Crystal, and I almost see him roll his eyes. And at the time, I was just like, okay, cut your losses, run out of here, tail between your legs. I went home, and I felt like really embarrassed, like I had embarrassed myself. But there were a few friends who were like, "No, you did what you did, and you should be proud of yourself. That's more progress than you've made in months, years, and he's going to get an attitude with you. Dude, it's Cash Saver, for crying out loud. It's not the State Department, Anyway, so I was like, okay, I did what I tried to do, and I'm not going to hear a thing. Like a week later, I get a phone call, and it's him. And he's like, "Come in tomorrow, 3 o'clock, we'll interview." Walked in there Sunday, the last Sunday of the decade, okay? Interviewed with him. And within 10 to 15 minutes, I had a job. I had a name tag. I had a sign-in number for the time clock. I had a shirt. and I was on paper again. And I started that Wednesday, New Year's Day. And I keep hearing the old timers come through the line, and they're like, if you start work on New Year's Day, you'll work all year. Yeah. And I ate my black eyed peas on New Year's Day. So anyway, I can get into a little more about the job a little later, but suffice to say, since New Year's Day till today, I've been working faithfully every day. I missed one shift because I had a stomach thing, and I was an hour late to another shift because I slept through my alarm. Other than that, and they haven't sweated me about it at all, because when I go in there, I'm 110% all damn day, no matter what it is that I'm doing. And they recognize it, and they appreciate it, and they respect me for it, and they will even praise me for it. And I can't tell you the impact that has on my psyche, which is what we're about to get into next. Well, here's the kicker, guys, because some of you may know, most of you who have subscribed may know, some of my friends and followers on Facebook might know. Do I need to get some oil Olay for this shits? Come on now. Whatever. Anyway, my mental health. It's been sketchy at best in the past. For those of you who might not know, I was diagnosed about 10 years ago as bipolar schizoaffective type. Which you might have to Google schizoaffective. I'm posting at the bottom of the screen so you know how to spell it. But from my understanding, it's kind of like between schizophrenia and typical bipolar, and sometimes it's typified by manic states and delusional thinking. I've had psychotic breaks before, and there's a difference between psychotic and psychopath. Please recognize the difference. A psychotic break is where you just lose touch with reality, and things that you imagine, things that you have believed, things that you might see or hear influence your actions in that moment. It's almost like a blackout drunk, seriously, you know. Anyway, you couple that with like chronic depression. I mean, I could be diagnosed with PTSD because of all the abandonments in my life. I could be diagnosed with ADHD, with Asperger's, you name it, okay? I mean, in my trips to treatment centers, and this is ultimately what I'm building towards, I have learned so much. Especially, I mean, this is on top of the one semester class or 1 year class that I did in psychology at the U of M. And it's like, I don't know. I was dealing with a lot of isolation, just not interacting, not saying nothing nothing nowhere, just kind of ghosting to everything. And I had gotten places where I had been isolated before, but I was still reaching out to people. This time I wasn't even trying, And I'm like, bro, you gotta do something different. I've been taking 5 medications to combat the symptoms of my diagnosis. I have been taking lithium, which is a mood stabilizer. I had been taking Boost Bar, generic name Buspirone. That's for anxiety, and it doesn't work like Xanax. It's like you don't pop it and immediately feel better. This is something that has to build up in your system for at least 14 days. And what it does is it raises your anxiety threshold, which, you know, I mean, I eventually couldn't tell a difference, but whatever. Celexa, which was my antidepressant. That's 3. Um, Trazodone to help me sleep, and Risperdal, which was my antipsychotic, anticonvulsant. Um, and that also was one of the only things that helped me sleep. Um, but then I started hearing about how antipsychotic medication will give you tardive dyskinesia, which could be some of this and, you know, some of this shit that I do and my bouncing my leg and stuff like that. It's like, so with the coupling of lack of funds to buy the meds and also no transportation to get to my job or to my doctor's office, which is out in Cordova, which is like a 30-minute drive away from me. I stopped taking my meds about 4 months ago. Now, I have paid in sleep because I could easily take a couple of Risperdal and go to bed and sleep like a baby for hours. But when I started hearing about the tardive dyskinesia and the grip that it had on me about sleep, okay, it's like if I didn't have it, I could not sleep. And I would stay up like 36 hours without it. And after I stopped it, I probably got about 36 hours of good sleep in that month period. But gradually I've gotten off of it. Now, how am I able to continue functioning? I mean, granted, like I said, sometimes I go off the rails. But, you know, how am I able to continue to function and now even hold down a job? But Aaron's not taking his meds. Aaron's off his meds. And the only thing I can attribute that to is the fact that in small ways and large ways, I've been employing the coping skills that I learned in my trips to treatment. Things as simple as taking a hot bath. Things as simple as reading a book. Things as simple as breathing in and out and noticing your breath and creating mantra. Things as easy as listing out the things you're grateful for. And it's like, I'm like, okay, you're off the pharma tip, okay? You're raw dog in reality, homie, okay? So fucking do it. Just do it. And I'm gradually getting into the swing of things. And the fact that I'm employed again and I have a responsibility, not just to the people I work for, but to myself. And it's making me proud of myself every single day. Now, does that mean I'm cured? No, that does not mean I'm cured. And I'll tell you why. The reason why to me is that I know that just like, and I mean, I hate to borrow from pop culture, but just like the Joker, I am one bad day from another episode. I know that. And so It's like the level of vigilance that I have to have about, you know, and I mean, there are some who may say that I'm not that good at it, and they were, they're, they could probably be right, but I know where I've been, and some of my Facebook friends know where I've been in the past 10 years. Anybody that's followed my YouTube knows where I've been for the past 10 years. Anybody that's followed my blog knows where I've been in the past 10 years, past decade. And I feel an improvement. Not only am I going to work every day, well, not every day, but I mean, I've got today off. But when I go in, it's an 8-hour shift. It's bagging groceries. It's putting back stock. It's clearing a lot of shopping carts. So I'm on my feet. I'm walking. I've been looking at my steps on my iPhone, and it's like in the 30,000s a day. Okay, and I'm pushing like five, 4 or 5 shopping carts that weigh about 20 pounds apiece. You know, working on my legs, working on my butt, working on my abs, my arms, and stuff like that. So I'm getting a workout. I'm starting to eat better. I work at a grocery store for crying out loud, you know? And I'm getting things that have protein and vitamins with vegetables and starches, carbohydrates like rice and noodles and, like the chicken voila or the Nor rice sides or Nor noodle sides with either canned chicken or canned tuna. I got some black beans. Oh, yeah. My friend Sheila sent me an entire box full of black beans because she said I knew you liked them. Anyway, it's like, so I'm eating better. You know, I'm fueling myself. Um, I'm taking vitamins. I got a one a day. I got some vitamin C. I got some vitamin D. I'm taking melatonin to help me sleep. And I always feel like I'm on the verge of some kind of flu infection, but I always push through it, you know? And yeah, I still smoke, and I'm looking into starting to quit that. I don't want to go the Chantix route. I don't need bad dreams. I don't need to be driving my neighbor's car without a license at 3 in the morning, okay? I'm sorry. So I'm either going to have to wean myself down or go cold turkey. But any support along those lines would be helpful. Anyway, things are good. Things are better than good. And I know when I remain grateful that these things continue to enter my sphere. It's like, if I give thanks every day to whatever or whoever for whatever, then I'm doing my part and recognizing the little things in my life that make it easier to go and do what I feel I have to do. And I wish nothing but the same to you and yours and the people that you care about. I'm going to try to do some more webisodes on a more regular basis. I know I've said that about my blog before, but these days I'm feeling a little more inspired. So stick around. If you haven't subscribed, please do so to the YouTube channel, or you can follow me on Facebook, or I'm on Instagram, just whatever, okay? Y'all have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon.